Department is. We're bodyguards for American contractors. That's what I was disagreeing.
And he's equally damning about the United Nations, whose mandate he's supposed to be carrying out.
Stay outside the road. The UN? They don't. No, we own the UN. U.S. government owns the UN. We foot the bill for the UN. UN does what we want them to, except for who? Libya and Cuba. So what? We wanted to go in there in a week. We take those over if we wanted to anyways. But we foot the bill for the UN. They'll vote how we want them to vote. That's just our. That's a U.S. puppet. You guys should know that. You've been to college. I haven't.
But the idealistic notions of the general are in marked contrast to the cynicism shown by some of his men on the streets. They think there's yet another motive.
There's already American contractors here bidding to rebuild this joint. You gotta tell me. You know, that's all the Defense Department is. We're bodyguards for American contractors. That's what I was disagreeing.
And he's equally damning about the United Nations, whose mandate he's supposed to be carrying out.
Stay outside the road. The UN? They don't. No, we own the UN. U.S. government owns the UN. We foot the bill for the UN. UN does what we want them to, except for who? Libya and Cuba. So what? We wanted to go in there in a week. We take those over if we wanted to anyways. But we foot the bill for the UN. They'll vote how we want them to vote. That's just our. That's a U.S. puppet. You guys should know that. You've been to college. I haven't.
But the idealistic notions of the general are in marked contrast to the cynicism shown by some of his men on the streets. They think there's yet another motive.
There's already American contractors here bidding to rebuild this joint. You gotta tell me. You know, that's all the Defense Department.
Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles in Connecticut, to the bishops, the priests, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And you know, as you've seen, I showed those you know, the two little clips, you know, fair use, you know, educational purposes only. No money is being made because, you know, it says buy the truth and sell it not. So we do not sell you precept packages, right? So plus I don't know nobody to do anything anyway. You know, I'm the bottom of the bottom, but you know, I praise you know, the one who's on top, right? The Father and through his Son, right? So it says Psalms 64 verse 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, right? So this, you know, these elites, that's what this you know, it's pretty much what this soldier, and I don't even know if that's real or fake video, right? Because we know that you know, sometimes they make these fake videos or something spilling out the truth, but then they'll come back and show, well, this wasn't really real, it wasn't this, because I remember back in sometime in early 2000 they showed one where it really looked like the Congress and they were passing these bills and it looked really real and it fooled a lot of people. I mean, it even fooled me for a little bit. And but the reality of it was factual, right? To be honest, because they've already signed away your rights technically, you know, just right now they're not ready to to just come down and just start grabbing up people the way you know, the way that they could, which they have during the George Floyd so-called thing. They were grabbing up people, right? You know, so you know, but just not on, you know, on that major level. You know, when the time of Jacob's trouble, Yaiquab's trouble, and which is really going to be the whole world's trouble, you know, when there should be sedition amongst men, not regarding one another, right? Not regarding what your neighbor, the welfare of your neighbor, and or this and that, which people barely do that now, so how much more when when people have what they say, when people have nothing, they lose it, right? So how much more in that day when you have nothing and you have no choice but to lose your wits, because you're gonna be at wits end with this place, right? And that's what that dude was speaking about. That these elite, that all this stuff is in their pockets, right? And that's what he's saying. That's that wicked council, right? The Illuminati, the Sikh shadow government, or whoever they may be, because you don't really know who they are, right? From the insurrections of the workers of iniquity, right?
Insurrection.
Right? Insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government. See, and that's the thing that's going to happen, man. Right? Because there's someone right there. That's an old video. So that truth had been out there. And now is even more out there. Because, probably only a couple of eyes were able to see it at one point in time. And then they were able to make the video, pushed it out. Maybe a million, 2 million people seen it. But now you're talking about the World Wide Web. You're talking about this thing was on YouTube, Rumble, you know what I mean? All these other outlets. So you're talking into the at least maybe 1 billion or so people have seen that video. But there's really no uprise right now, right? Because people have things to lose. Right? But when you have nothing to lose, that's when you're going to lose it. That's when you're going to have your uprise against your government. Right? Yeah, so this is Psalms 64:2. I'm going to do it right here. It says the AMP, which is Amplified Version. Right? And it says, hide me from the secret counsel and conspiracy. Right, because they try to laugh at you as if conspiracy is a far-fetched thing, but this guy, this soldier, whether it's real or fake or whatever it may be, he's letting you know about a conspiracy, about how these people control everything, and it's just like it's no big deal, So says of the ungodly, right? See, and that's what they're saying. Hey, we'll go over to this place and we'll wipe them out in a day. It doesn't matter. We go over to countries, blow up these buildings, kill innocent people, and there's already contractors and people ready to bid on rebuilding the place that they just blew up. So you spent, no wonder why you're in a huge debt. You spent millions and billions of dollars on missiles and guns and bombs and bullets to turn around and spend millions of dollars to rebuild the shit you just blew up. It makes no sense at all. But in their eyes, war is money, right? War is finance. This is the big conspiracy that they have, and ultimately, it's against you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? Right? Because the biggest conspiracy is to bring in the MOTB, right? Right? So, and they ain't making no quarrels about it. You see the dude, how he speak. They're the ungodly, right? From the scheming of those who do wrong, right? Hey man, they're doing a lot of different scheming, right? you know, yeah. So it says those of those who do iniquity, but in the KJV version it says the workers of iniquity. So we're gonna go see the workers of iniquity, right? Those that do wrong, and it says avad.
Strong's H205. Avan.
Right, Ravan, right, which is trouble, wickedness, sorrow, trouble, sorrows, idolatry, troubles of iniquity, wickedness, and that's kind of crazy that their definition to what they're trying to say is it means trouble, right? And there's a thing called Jacob's trouble, right? Which is really because of what of the iniquity, right? The sins, right? And that's gonna ultimately bring what sorrow, right? Because it should have said breaking of the laws, because that would have been more accurate. Should have been more of breaking the laws, right? And then it doesn't have like a root thing, so you can go further, right? Ultimately vain, right? Yeah, it's vain to break the laws of the Most High, man. Right? Yes, it says keep going. Psalms 64:3, who whet their tongues like swords, right? And if you know about what's it called, using water and a sharpening tool, right? The tool to sharpen water, and it gets it way sharper when you're using it because of the friction, and you're putting the water so it doesn't the friction doesn't mess it up, so it gives it a nice clean edge upon on your sword, or on the thing, or the knife, or whatever you're sharpening, right? And it says and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. So, hey, you see how the dude was speaking it, though. That ain't good news. If they have the so-called UN or whatever in their back pocket, then what you seeing that right now, because there's supposed to be rules and humanitarian rules when you're going and bombing certain places and you're doing certain things, and this is why certain people are so-called calling it out, but then nothing's being done as far as violations of war tactics, and then when you're going too far, and no one can do anything, and it's supposed to be the UN or whatever that's supposed to come in and say, hey, look, you're doing too much, or you're going too far, or whatever, right? Well, the so-called, some about the, can't remember, like the Geneva Convention, something like that. It's supposed to be a way that they're supposed to handle things, right? But it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, right? So ultimately, all these things is to get into strategic places for warfare, for power, to get people resources, oil, diamonds, whatever they can get. But ultimately, it's to oppress the Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, whether you know it or not, right? Right? So they can find a way for you to so-called kill your own selves to trying to keep up with the Joneses or whatever they do. You know, drugs, money, put you in the hoods, the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, having you scratch and crawl for these diamonds and golds that they bring up elsewhere, right? You know, still oil and then and all these other things, and then say that there's a problem with the barrels or whatever, or why you paying $5 or $7 at the gallon at the gas tank a gallon, right? So I mean, it's all these things, man. Right? And you're the perfect, right? You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not, right? And they're not worried about you, right? They're not even fearing the Most High, even because you're the Most High's people, right? Because they feel like, hey, you know, as long as we keep them occupied, not knowing who they are, because it says they encourage themselves in evil matter, right? Hey man, they ain't gonna do nothing. Let's just keep them asleep. Let's make more shows called The Chosen, right? Which the Israelites are the chosen. You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, but we're gonna put a bunch of so-called white people, right, or Arab-looking people, right, and so-called Arab-looking people, because even Arab people technically were woolly hair, like black people, like what they call so-called black people, right? They were of a different nation, but technically, even Arab people were actually dark skinned with woolly hair, right, or thicker hair grade. So I mean, even with that, they got it wrong, right? So, you know, so this is why they encourage themselves, because a lot of you fall for it. You know, united we stand, divided we fall, and that's what they divide you into these categories. You know, Black, Latino, Native American, right? And you know, the so-called, you know, I guess the Spanish-speaking tribes, you know, they get their connection because they speak Spanish, right? So they got a little bit of a connection. But there was a time where, you know, even you wasn't even trying to figure out a connection between each other because of the Spanish you spoke. Well, he don't speak the pure Spanish, so they're not like us. Or they speak this kind of Spanish, and so they're not. So even then, back you bicker between each other, right? So that's the encouragement that they have, because you're separating you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. They commute of lying snares privily, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's those things putting you in the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, right? The snares, the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American culture, right? With the guns, the drugs, the money, right? The gang banging, the things to chase you, have you chasing the so-called American dream, right? Even if you so-called join the so-called military or the police force, it's having you chase a thing that once you get in there, you have these racist cops and these racist things that make you feel inferior or something. You have to be part of their the part of the blue, right? And even under that, they got this racist undertone to being a cop, right? So those are things. Those are all snares, right? Traps, right? They say who shall see them, because that's what I said. They're not even worried about the Most High. They're not afraid that the Most High is going to do anything, because you, Jakes, are continually sinning. You're eating your pork, your shrimp, your crab, your lobster. You're doing. You're you know, trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're doing whatever it takes to assimilate to Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, which is an abomination in itself to be pale skinned, like that. You know what I mean? That's a sin. Though you might be a clean leopard, you're still a leopard. That doesn't change the fact of the matter, right? So you could play your movies and show the Chosen, the Passion of the Christ, but it doesn't change that you're not the people, man, right? So it says they search out iniquities, right? Yeah, finding ways to put you in iniquity, putting pork skin in pork's blood in the filter of your cigarettes, in your shampoos and things, whatever they can do, right? A Jake get pulled over, shot by the cop. They'll dig up some old fucking arrest record and go, well, by the way, he was arrested for such and such back in 19 fucking, I don't know what the fuck, have to do with 2020 fucking 4, when he's from that time to whatever time, he hasn't been in trouble, he hasn't got arrested, nothing's happened. Well, what happened to so-called reformed and all this other, but they're not really there to reform you, right? They don't really care, right? Especially when it comes to you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and they may show a token so-called black person, a token so-called Hispanic person, a token so-called Native American, and he'll go, well, they helped me, but look at your other brothers and sisters that's hurt. But a lot of you Jakes don't do that. You're trapped in these snares that are laid privily, right? Right? You search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, right? That's what I said. They'll look up all sorts of things, man, upon you, and then they know a lot of you Jakes how you operate. You want to buy the Lindsay Balaga and the Fendi and the Gucci and all this other stuff to keep up with the Joneses, and you'll rape, rob, and murder your own people for these things, and they know these things that you'll do. They know to give Gad, right, you so-called Native Americans, the alcohol, right? They knew these things. They searched those things out. They did studies on that, right? Before they gave you the fire water, they did some studying. Oh yeah, this puts them in a volatile situation, right? Because of all the things they can make illegal, right? That's one of the things they decided to make legal, right? So it says both the inward thoughts of every one of them and the heart is deep, right? Their mind. So this they're constantly thinking and meditating in a sense. They go to these G summits, these what do they call? I know they got the G summits, the World Economic Forum situation, the World Health Organizations, right? This is what he's telling you. They got a way to just control everything. They're not worried about anything. CV19 should have taught you that, man. They literally shut down the world over the common code, right? Right? So it says but the power, the Most High, shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they shall be wounded, right? And all this whole system, right, is starting to be wounded, right? Through the men of the Lord standing out there on the highways and the byways, man. Right? And they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. So as things are going on, the Lord is striking them with fear. Right? And as they got this fear and they have these or resentment within them, the Lord's allowing them to have their own tongue. That's what the soldier's doing, because he's bitter about the things. He's he's like, look, man, we do all these things and we're really nothing, man. Because he ain't getting paid the big bucks. He ain't never gonna be a millionaire. Like he said, we're just security guards to the rich and the wealthy. We protect their stuff. We protect their thing to make them rich. And we're going to go back home and we're going to be in the hoods, the ghettos, the barrios, the reservations, or even like he's just a so-called white guy. He's going to be in the goddamn trailer park out in the middle of fucking Tallahassee somewhere, a big fucking nobody, right? So he's just explaining, he's just giving you what it really is, man. Their tongue is falling upon themselves. Hey, and a lot of you don't like to listen, right? Right? You don't want the truth. Just tell us smooth things, right? That's what you want, right? To fall upon themselves, right? And so they shall make their own tongues to fall upon themselves, right? Some of them think that they became a Christian, and they really believe that that Jesus is going to save them. You know what I mean? When the letter J is only 4,500 years old, and the Lord, the God of the Bible, is only for the Israelites, man. Right? Right? And you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians fit the bill. Right? You're those people. Right? I'm not really speaking for the other side of the world, even though we're scattered around the world, but the bulk of the issues and the trouble that's going to come upon this world, or the ICBM missiles that's going to wipe this place into a desert, is here. So the thing is to get your head out your ass and understand that the Lord is making moves, big moves, and letting these people tongue fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee from them, man. And as you can see, a lot of these people are stepping away from the American dollar. They're stepping away from the JOOs, right? The small hatters, right? The wish, right? Right? So this is Psalms chapter 94, verse 3. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, how long shall the wicked, right? And that's dealing, starting with Amalek, right? Esau, Edom, Amalek, but all the tribes of Esau, and you other nations. How long shall the wicked triumph, man? Because that's what he's doing. He's bragging like, hey man, we're winning. We could do this, we could do that. We'll break. And which they did. They went into Lebanon, whatever, and destroyed it, right? Right? Pretty much every country in the world has a Rothschild central bank. So they're running this thing, man. Right? I care not who make what they say. I care not who make the laws of the country. Just who distributes the money, right? Something like that, right? Because they're controlling it. They're controlling the money, right? They're controlling the wealth of the earth, and pretty soon that wealth, they're changing over from physical dollar bills, whether it's the ruba or the yin, the yang, the dollar bill, the what is it called? the pound, right? Everything's gonna go digital, right? So this is them, boasting in themselves, right? Because they're triumphing. How long shall they utter and speak hard things? See, that's a hard thing for you to understand what he's saying, man. We got the UN in our pocket. We're going in, and that's all a front that the UN has come in and what's going on here. You can't treat these people like this, and we're gonna and if they step back, it's because they're saying we're allowing. It's a puppet show. It's a show. It's theos, man. It's just a theater. It's the theater of life, and the Most High is really in all control. They think they are, but the Most High is in control, right? And all the workers of iniquity boast themselves. See, and that's what they're doing. They're working all sorts of iniquity, all sorts of atrocities, murdering and killing thousands of people over there in Lebanon, over in Pakistan, not Pakistan. They did in Pakistan too, but Lebanon and Palestine, Salakia, Lebanon and Palestine, over in Ukraine and all these other places that they're so-called warring, or they not really warring. You know what I mean? Because there's wars and there's rumors of wars, right? Because who knows? Because they ain't really show any real thing when it comes to the war in Ukraine, besides the fake plastic bags of or fake black tarps of so-called dead people, and then one of the guys flipped open the tarp underneath it. All right, which lets you know that those were crisis actors, man. Right? Because I believe they use real people, because when you throw like a thing over a dummy has a certain way. It don't look like a person. You know what I mean? So I think they were actually using real people, and maybe that dude was hyperventilating or something happened, but it caused them to have their tongue fall upon themselves, or the view. That's why it tells you. That's why when we were younger, they were saying don't believe everything you hear, but only believe half of what you see, and that was clear cut, right? When the dude was underneath the tarp, all them so-called supposed to be dead bodies, and a body lifts up, a person that's supposed to be dead lifts up the black tarp that was covering them, and start looking like he over there talking to somebody, like, "Hey, yo, what are we starting yet? Is it action?" Somebody yell action so I can know when to play dead, right? But they tongue, it fall upon themselves, man, and it says But instead they boast themselves, you know what I mean, in all sorts of evil manners and wickedness. They break in pieces thy people, right? You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, man, and you Israelites scattered around the world, because their thing is they're moving in, man. O Yahweh, Basham Yahweh Shai, Basham Rakal Kadash, and afflict thy heritage, right? Right? That's you. You so-called black man, so-called native man, so-called Hispanic man, right? That's you. Right? You Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel, man. When you hear this and you hear, dang, the Lord ain't a so-called white man, and God don't love everybody, and you start going, well, that kind of makes sense, because nobody loves everybody, right? It makes sense that God, when it says God so loved the world, that there's three meanings to world. You know, orchemene, what is it? Eon, and then cosmos. And it makes sense that it's an organization, a cosmos, or organized government of cosmos, because the Israelite, it was an Israelite that wrote the scriptures to Israelites. So You may look like another nation, but you're like, you know what? All this stuff is actually starting to make sense. If it's saying woolly hair and skin of bronze, and then it's saying the Most High has hair pure wool, and things are actually starting to click with you. Like, man, it is strange that you did call them Negro, then colored, and colored, then something else, and then something else, and no you mean they're the only one, and they're still the only people on the planet still unsure of who they are and where they come from. How is that even possible? Right? Just because of slavery? But then when we bring up slavery, they'll throw in, well, everybody's been in slavery. Everyone's been in slavery. Okay, well, do everybody not know who they are? Because it seemed like all you people who said you've been in slavery before, you know who you are. You know where your ancestors come from. You know for this and this and that. But the Lord said you should. This says this. You should discontinue for. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. If you discontinue from your heritage, how would you know who you are? See, and so you may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel, and you're looking at this like, wow, you know what? That does make sense. Why? You know what I mean? Why? They slay the widow, right? And the stranger, and murder the fatherless, right? Because you got the women in the Section 8. You got the women, who who's in the ghettos, the barrios, the reservation, who their men is always dropping dead, whether if it's gang violence, whether it's gang violence, whether it's by police, right? Whether it's by heart attacks, the men in the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, they die first, which leaves women to be widows, right? And the strangers, right, which are other Israelite strangers. So I was just speaking about, Israelites who look like another nation, but they're not. They're actually Israelites. So they'll even kill you. Like when was it that I forgot the name of that book, but it was something about 100 hangings or 100 hangings, and then even in that book, though it was showing so-called black people, some of those were actually Italians or so-called Irish people, right? And then I remember Apostle Harsh spoke about that and said it's because you can't hide the spirit. You can't hide, and you can't run away from your judgment. If that's the judgment that the Most High has for you, you can't hide from it. And you're Israelites, right? So it says Salakia. Yeah, and yeah, they murder the fatherless, yet they say Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai shall not see, neither shall the power of Jacob regard it, right? So hey man, God ain't dealing with them no more, man. So don't even worry about it. We can go around in Lebanon and Ukraine and Palestine, and we'll wipe out or we'll push out the people who we think are actually really Israelites, or we'll kill these people, and we'll do this and we'll do that. We'll just do all the things that we want to do because what? The UN is in our back pocket. Because was it what do they call it? Humanitarian things should have already happened, right? Especially when you deal with the thing with Palestine, when people called for for Benjamin Netanyahu to be brought up on war crimes, or just Israel just in itself. Israel as a country should be brought up on war crimes, right? This is what they're saying, right? But, you know, you hear a little speckle of it there, and it's crickets, right? But now they want to bring up, they don't have R. Kelly to talk about. Now you got to bring up P. Diddy, and you got to bring up all sorts of madness in the world. And listen, man. Says, understand ye brutish among the people. See, a lot of you are stupid. You fall for the okie dokes. You fall for all these different things. You're brutish. You're stupid. You want to, go out and vote, right? You think Kamala is somebody? You think Trump is somebody? You're brutish, man. You're foolish. You know what I'm saying? It says, understand ye brutish among the people, and ye foolish, when will ye be wise? Well, when will you start seeing the truth, man? When will you start understanding that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is not dealing with everybody? He's ultimately dealing with the elect at this point in time, but the elect are Israelites, man. Right? Tell you 12,000 out of each tribe. So where do you get the world out of that? And even when they try to go to the thing and you read into it and you break it down, you go into the blue letter. Even then, when it tells you about the mixed multitude, it lets you know it's still talking about the lineage of the Israelites. So how do you get anything else out of that? But, a lot of people don't, they don't study or do anything, right? Matter of fact, look at, let's see, when will you be wise? He that planteth the ear, shall he not hear? So while they're doing all these underhanded things, putting you in the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, going around the world, rape, robbing, murdering, doing all these different things, using their military and the lies of humanitarian purposes, or even purposes of saying that they're they care about your health, so they need the World Health Organization, right? And we need to worry about your so-called carbon footprint, right? Or we need to worry, you know what I mean? Because now they care about now they care about your health. Now they care about the ozone, right? Now, you know what I mean? What's the other one? It's just these things that they're gonna use, man. And you're brutish. You're not understanding. When are you gonna understand, right? Oh, your finances, right? So now they care how you spend your money, and whether if you have this and you need housing, and if you need housing, you're gonna have to go to this government housing, and you got to get this government funding, and we're gonna take away the dollar bills because the dollars are filthy and they're dirty. So we need to give you this digital. We give you a digital currency, right? In order for you, so you don't get sick, right? Because we care about the ozone layer. We care about your carbon footprint and a bunch of madness. But so when are you gonna not be brutish? When are you gonna be wise, right? Because he that planted the ear, shall he not hear? For he formed the eyes, shall he not see? So yeah. So why these so-called elites is thinking that they're behind closed doors and things, doing things that, there's no God. We're gonna do what we want to do. It's because the elite, they don't fear God. They don't believe in God. They know some things, but at the same time, they don't fear it, right? Because it's not in for them to fear. But you Israelites, it's meant for you to fear, right? Because he that and this right here, he that chasteth the heathen, right? Seeing all these other nations, they're heathens, right? Shall not he correct? So shouldn't the Lord destroy all these other heathens? Which heathen is another way of saying nations. So if the Lord loved all nations and the Lord loved all people, how is the Lord going to chasten a bunch of nations and a bunch of people? Shall he not correct he that teacheth men knowledge? Shall he not know? So, hey, the Lord put the mind and the brain and the thoughts in your head. Shall he not know what you're thinking and how you think that you can go to, Lebanon and blow up this, and you can go to these places and blow up that, and you could do this and that, and just rape these these so-called wherever you're at, wherever your military's at, you're raping children and women and men. You're doing all sorts of debauchery things, using your military might and your power all over the world to steal uranium, vibranium, gold, oil, whatever you're stealing. You know what I'm saying? Right? Wherever you're taking the fatness of the earth by the sword, right? You think nobody don't know. But shouldn't the Lord know that? He only created everything, right? It says, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, knoweth the thoughts of men, that they are vanity, right? So it's a vain thing to think that you're going to go around the world committing war crimes.
Blessed is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord.
Oops, sorry about that. Well, I'll go in there. It says, blessed is the man who chasteneth, O power, and teacheth him out of the law, right? And so that's really for the elect, man. So, the Lord is to teach the elect out of the law, man. That's when you're going to be blessed, and that's when you're going to raise up out of these conditions, out of these situations, right? Being part of the elect and learning through the law, statutes, and commandments, and the faith of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder bishops in Connecticut, the other apostles in Connecticut, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching the truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, right? To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This, a Baba Ball.